Welcome to Essential Dialogues. Today we're diving deep into some pretty big news coming out of Ethiopia.
Oh, yeah.
They're launching their very own stock exchange,
That's right.
the ESX,
Good deal.
by the end of November.
Yeah, by the end of this month, actually.
Yeah, and it just seems like a huge moment for them,
Absolute.
for their financial landscape, and kind of really signals that their economy is opening up in a major way.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting about this to me is the timing.
Yeah.
It's not just any stock exchange kind of popping up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ESX is launching at a time when there's so much economic change happening in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
It's a major step toward attracting global investment.
Almost like they're saying, hey,
Exactly.
we are open for business.
We are open for business. Come invest in Ethiopia.
Now, I was reading that the Ethiopian Securities Exchange was actually established back in October 2023,
That's right.
but they're just now launching.
Yep. So in that time, they've really been busy getting everything ready,
Mm-hmm.
you know, setting the stage for a more dynamic and, I think, inclusive financial system.
So what have they been doing to get ready?
Well, they've been operating under this new framework
Okay.
called the Capital Market Proclamation,
Okay.
and it's designed to encourage cooperation
I see.
between, you know, different companies and the private sector.
So it's been around for a year, but what's been happening during that time?
Yeah, what's the response been like?
Right. What's the response been?
Well, one of the most impressive things is how successful they've been in raising capital.
Oh.
Like, initially, their goal was to raise 631 million birr.
Okay, so that's a pretty substantial amount of money.
It is a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? They've totally blown past that goal.
Really?
They've secured over 1.5 billion birr.
Wow. More than double?
Yeah, we're talking about a 240% increase.
So, like, what do you think is driving that huge surge in confidence
That's a great question.
from investors?
I think it's a few things, you know?
Okay.
Ethiopia has been making some big economic reforms.
Yeah.
And the ESX is a key part of that.
So it's kind of a signal that Ethiopia is becoming more attractive.
Exactly.
to investors.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're serious about modernizing.
Yeah.
And we want to create an environment that's really welcoming to investors.
Okay.
And investors are responding.
And they're putting their money where their mouth is.
They are.
Now, what I also thought was really interesting is just the sheer diversity,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
absolutely, of the investors that are involved.
It's not just a couple big players.
Yeah. How many are we talking about?
They've got 48 domestic and foreign investors
Wow.
from all sorts of different sectors.
48 investors.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's a lot.
It really shows how broad the interest is.
Are there any, like, big names in there that we would recognize?
Oh, absolutely. You've got organizations like FSD Africa.
Okay.
They focus on financial market development across sub-Saharan Africa.
I see.
You've got the Trade and Development Bank Group. It's okay.
It's a major development finance institution.
And are they African or?
Yeah, they're based in Africa.
Okay.
And then even the Nigerian Exchange Group is involved.
Oh, wow. So this is really generating some buzz
It is.
across the continent.
It's spreading across the continent.
It sounds like the ESX is doing more than just attracting investment, though.
Right.
It's also building a platform for growth
Uh-huh.
within Ethiopia's own economy.
That's a crucial point, I think.
Yeah.
The ESX is all about providing new ways to invest in Ethiopia,
Okay.
stimulating entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
and promoting sustainable development
Across a lot of different sectors.
across all these different sectors.
It's like they're building an entire financial ecosystem
You got it.
from the ground up.
That's a great way to put it.
And they picked a pretty interesting spot to do it, too.
They did.
The former state-owned television station building in Addis Ababa.
Yeah, all the trading's going to be happening right there.
So that building is going to be the central hub.
It's going to be a busy place for Ethiopia's financial future.
It really seems that way.
What's also interesting is that it's not just going to be the ESX.
Right.
They're also putting the Ethiopian Capital Market Authority
Mm-hmm.
and Ethiopian Investment Holdings in the same building.
All together.
So that's a lot of financial power
It is.
consolidated in one spot.
It's a powerful move.
Do you think that's a strategic decision?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can really see the thought behind it,
Mhm.
having all those key players in one place.
Yeah.
It just makes things run smoother.
Right.
It encourages collaboration, and I think it's going to create a lot of synergy
Yeah.
within Ethiopia's financial sector.
It definitely shows commitment, I think.
Absolutely. They're serious about
This
it.
project.
Yeah.
This is the real deal. Yeah. It really does feel like they're putting everything in place
Yeah.
for some serious economic change.
Uh-huh.
But it's important to remember that this is still early days.
Right.
The ESX is just getting started. That's true. Even with all this success early on,
Yeah.
there are going to be challenges.
Oh, there will be. There always are.
What do you think some of those might be?
Well, one that comes to mind is how to manage all this foreign investment responsibly.
Oh, okay. So making sure that this investment actually benefits
Right.
the Ethiopian people.
Yeah, and doesn't lead to any kind of exploitation
Right.
or unsustainable practices.
So we're talking about things like
Right.
protecting the environment,
Uh-huh.
making sure that labor practices are fair,
Yeah.
and that local communities are really benefiting.
Exactly. It's about making sure that growth is sustainable.
Yeah.
And that it benefits everyone.
Not just a select few.
Right.
And beyond responsible investment.
Yeah.
What other risks do you see?
Well, there's also the risk of volatility.
Okay.
A new stock market can be a bit unpredictable.
Sure.
Prices can fluctuate quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
And there's always the chance of speculation.
Yeah.
Even the possibility of, market bubbles forming.
So it's a bit of a tightrope walk.
It is.
We need to be excited about the potential,
Yeah.
but also approach it with caution.
Absolutely. I think that's a really important point.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be optimistic about.
Yeah.
But we also need to be aware of the risks.
So balance.
Balance, exactly.
So zooming out a bit, what does this all tell us about the direction
Yeah.
of the African continent?
That's a great question.
What kind of story is this telling us?
I think it's part of a bigger trend
Okay.
that we're seeing across Africa.
Okay.
There's this growing sense of economic energy
Uh-huh.
and a real desire to carve out their own path
Yeah.
in the global market.
It feels like for so long the narrative around Africa has been
Right.
very focused on poverty and conflict.
Exactly, and instability.
But that's just one side of the story.
It is. There's another side emerging.
Yeah. What is that other side?
It's a story about innovation,
Uh-huh.
entrepreneurship, a young and vibrant population.
And this new generation that's really ready to embrace the future.
Exactly.
And it seems like the ESX really embodies that.
I think so too.
It's like a signal that Africa isn't just waiting
Right.
for aid or investment anymore.
Yeah.
They're taking charge
They're taking control.
of their own economic destiny.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's something to celebrate.
It is.
It's a reminder that Africa has a bright future.
Yeah.
And the world needs to pay attention.
It really feels like a continent on the rise.
It does.
And the ESX is just one example.
One of many.
And all these exciting things that are happening.
Absolutely.
Now, bringing it back to our listeners,
Yeah.
we've talked about the potential benefits
Mm-hmm.
and risks of the ESX.
Right.
What does all this mean for you?
What does it mean for the average person?
Yeah, what does it mean for our listeners?
That's a good question to think about.
Yeah.
I think if you're someone who's interested in global markets,
Uh-huh.
the ESX is definitely something to watch.
Okay.
It has the potential to open up new opportunities. Yeah.
For investment and trade.
And I think it would be really interesting to see how this impacts
Yeah.
the entire African financial landscape.
It's going to have ripple effects.
Yeah.
For sure.
And even if you're not directly involved in finance or investing,
Uh-huh.
this still has implications for all of us.
It does in a way.
How so?
Well, the success of the ESX could impact the global economy.
Okay.
It could affect things like commodity prices,
Wow.
job markets even.
So it's all connected.
It is. It's a reminder that we live in a very interconnected world,
Yeah.
and what happens in one part of the world can have a big impact
Yeah.
on other parts of the world.
So it's a good reminder to stay informed
Absolutely.
and engaged with what's happening globally.
Stay curious,
Yeah.
stay engaged,
Yeah.
and keep learning.
I like that.
As we've been talking about all this, it's kind of hit me that the ESX launch is about more than just,
Yeah.
numbers and financial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's about
Yeah.
people. Well, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
easy to get caught up
Right.
in those financial details.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
Right.
economic progress really only matters if it helps people's lives.
That's what it's all about.
Right.
And I think the ESX has the potential to do that.
Yeah. How so?
Well, by creating new opportunities
Okay.
for investment,
Uh-huh.
for entrepreneurship, for jobs,
Yeah.
it can really empower people,
Yeah.
individuals, families,
Whole communities.
entire communities across Ethiopia.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, imagine the possibilities for someone
Right.
who maybe hasn't had these kinds of opportunities before.
Exactly. Like, imagine a young entrepreneur in Addis Ababa.
Okay.
They've got a great idea,
Uh-huh.
but they need capital to get started.
Yeah.
Now they can access that.
Right.
Or a farmer in a rural village,
Okay.
they can get a loan to invest in new technology and
Right.
increase their crop yields.
And a single mother can find a job
Right.
that allows her to, really provide a better life for her kids.
Right. These are the stories that really matter.
Yeah.
It's about giving people the tools they need
Yeah.
to build a better future.
And that's a message that I think resonates
It does.
far beyond Ethiopia.
It's universal.
Yeah.
It's about hope, opportunity, the belief that things can get better.
That a brighter future is possible.
Exactly.
Well said. Well, it's been a fascinating conversation.
It has.
We've really covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from, the nuts and bolts of the ESX to what it means for Ethiopia and Africa and the world.
It's a big story.
Yeah, I hope our listeners have a better understanding now
I hope so too.
of this exciting development
It's definitely a moment to watch.
and what it could mean for the future.
The future is full of possibilities.
It is. If you enjoyed today's deep dive,
Yeah.
be sure to share your thoughts with us on social media.
We love hearing from you.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe
To Essential Dialogues.
for more conversations like this.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.